The United Nations says Russia summarily executed 77 civilians being held in arbitrary detention during its invasion of Ukraine, which constitute war crimes. Since the invasion, the United Nations Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine said it has documented 864 individual cases of arbitrary detention by Russia, 763 being men, 94 women, and 7 boys, many of which also amounted to enforced disappearances. The United Nations Human Rights Office published a 36-page report on civilian detentions and the war based on mission's findings. It said the findings cover the period from the start of the Russian invasion on February 24th last year until May 23rd this year. More than 91% of civilians detained by Russia told the interviewers they had been subjected to torture and ill treatment, and in some cases sexual violence, including rape and electric shocks to genitals.
Ukraine gave us unimpeded confidential access to official places of detention and detainees, with one exception. The Russian Federation did not grant us such access despite our requests. We documented 864 individual cases of arbitrary detention by the Russian Federation, many of which also amounted to enforced disappearances. Many civilian detainees were held incommunicado in unofficial places of detention, often in deplorable conditions. In about a quarter of the documented cases, civilian detainees were transferred to other locations within occupied territory or deported to the Russian Federation. Often no information was disclosed to their families for prolonged periods of time.
The report's findings were based on 1,136 interviews with victims, witnesses and others, plus 274 site visits and 70 visits to official places of detention run by Ukrainian authorities.